What a great movie after all of these years. And the performance by the late Richard Harris as Marcus Aurelius. Oh. Hi, I didn't see you there. Welcome to Crandall Reviews. I'm Cinematic Crandall. I've got a spoiler-free look at the new Wizarding World flick, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Just a reminder, if it's in the trailer, I don't consider it a spoiler. That being said, I will protect the secrets. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald is the second installment in a planned 5-movie saga. It expands the worlds and characters from the first film and introduces many familiar elements from the Harry Potter series. Crimes is a darker film than the first, and while it has many great moments, feels like it is padded with more than a little bit of filler. I like our returning cast members. I've never been a huge fan of Eddie Redmayne, but I found his portrayal of Newt Scamander to be charming, and they deepen his character here, expand the world, give us more information on his family and backstory, and I really enjoyed his performance. I love the Fantastic Beasts. The new additions are very cool, like the wild seaweed seahorse creature, the Kelpie, and the vicious blue-eyed creatures that Newt runs up against while he's at the Ministry. The Niffler is also back, everyone's favorite, still adorable, but even cuter are the baby Nifflers, who don't get nearly as much screen time, but they join the ranks of the Porgs and Baby Groot on the "oh, isn't it so cute" meter, and every kid is going to want a baby Niffler toy this holiday season. While our 4 main characters from the first film are all back, I was a bit frustrated that they don't spend a lot of time together, as in many sequels, our heroes split off into smaller groups for much of the running time. I missed some of the dynamic between them, the interplay between those characters, and I found a few of the choices Rowling made to keep our characters apart to be frustrating, and one of them feels like a misunderstanding straight out of an old school sitcom, not out of a Wizarding World movie, and that left me a little bit disappointed and perplexed in the setup. In terms of new faces, Jude Law is excellent as a younger Albus Dumbledore. He captures the essence of Dumbledore from his first scene, and seeing such a beloved Harry Potter character in his prime was a lot of fun. And while Jude Law is the example of perfect casting, Johnny Depp as Grindelwald feels like the most uninspired, lazy choice they could have gone with. The moment in the last film where Colin Farrell turns into Depp was such a downgrade, and I just sank, because Depp is passable, but his performance is 90% haircut. I did appreciate that we get a better look at Grindelwald's motivations for wanting to reveal wizards to the no-mage community and rule over them, using actual historical events as a frame of reference provides the audience with a brief moment of understanding where his plan doesn't seem too insane, and I like that we get more about his backstory with Dumbledore. Zoe Kravitz as Leta Lestrange does some nice work, and her and Newt's history is explored in more detail and was definitely a highlight of the film. Their dynamic together was quite good. Now, if you've seen the trailers, not a spoiler, but we do return to Hogwarts, and when we get there and the familiar music kicks up and we see people in their house robes, it feels like the old magic is back. I absolutely loved all the scenes at Hogwarts and the other Harry Potter series Easter eggs that they have thrown in here and there were all welcome, and while totally fan service, I absolutely loved it. I really enjoyed all of the Harry Potter references. There is a central mystery that drives a lot of the narrative about a certain character, and honestly, for much of the runtime and the red herrings, I was kind of disinterested in it. That being said, by the time they reveal in the final minute of the movie some critical information, I was totally pulled in. It completely worked, so much so that I'm sure I'll be more invested in that storyline on a rewatch than I was the first time around, knowing what I know now. And that's basically the testament of J.K. Rowling, is that you're going to want to go back and watch it again. Now, the film moves at a much slower pace and is more character-oriented. I found the opening action sequence to be quite flat and unexciting. James Newton Howard's score nearly saves the sequence, and his nice work fits nicely in line with the music from the rest of the films. But director David Yates brings the same cold, clinical style to the film as all his previous Wizarding World entries, and it works fine for the series, but it never reaches the visual heights or the emotional depths of Alfonso Cuarón's The Prisoner of Azkaban, and it just feels like a missed opportunity where we don't have an auteur or somebody bring a bit more flair. You know, you might not want the camera work or the direction to be too showy and overshadow the story in a movie like this, but a little bit more style I don't think would hurt anyone. Yates isn't breaking the mold here, and the uninspired, quick-cutting action opening, followed by a bunch of exposition scenes with many too-close-for-comfort close-ups, really made that opening 20 minutes a bit of a slog for me. Things get better once the movie switches modes and heads to Paris, and from that point on, I was totally invested in the story. I was loving the characters, and they have really been hyping the Protect the Secrets tagline, and there are 3 big reveals in the last act that are definitely best left unspoiled. And while those big reveals aside, it does feel like a slight installment. Those big moments really set the stage nicely for the next film. If Fantastic Beasts was setting the table, this is sort of the appetizer, and at the end you can sort of smell the main course off in the distance. That's all I can say without getting deep into spoilers, but if you liked the first one, you will probably like this one just as much, if not a bit more. If you were indifferent to the first Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, I don't think this will convert you. But if your main complaint was there weren't enough elements from the original Harry Potter series and the series of characters you know, then they do make their way into this, and you may find it a little bit more engaging, and it could be right up your alley. So that's the Crimes of Grindelwald spoiler-free review. Hit the comments. Let me know your spoiler-free thoughts on the movie or the series in general. And as always, thanks a lot for watching, and never feed your mogwai after midnight.